Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today I want to share with you my June TBR. And yeah, let's not think about that too much. Let's just talk books. So I have been doing monthly TBRs for this year for the first time. Before that, I always did seasonal TBRs. And I thought that 5 books is a good number for a TBR for me because I usually read around like 7 to 8 books a month. So putting 5 on my TBR would leave a lot of room for being spontaneous a little bit. Shout out to my friends Daniela and Cleo because, the spontaneous reading group. And yeah, so far for not a single month, I have managed to stick to just 5 books on the TBR. So I'm doing simply completely radical in June. And I'm technically only putting 5 books on my TBR. Technically. We'll get into that in a second, but before we do that, I quickly wanted to look back on May. The month is not quite over when I'm filming this. I'm filming a few videos quite early because I'm going on vacation at the beginning of June, so I have to prep a little bit, but I will tell you so far how things are going with the May TBR, and then we'll talk about the books I hope to read in June. So in May, I had 8 books on my TBR. As of this moment, when I am filming this, I have finished 5 of those books, so we are doing kind of okay. And I have started 1 more, and I think I will get to 1 more. So that means that I will at least start and hopefully also finish 7 out of the 8 books that were on my TBR for the month of May. This was also Asian Readathon, so I want to make sure I get all my prompts covered for that. And I think realistically I can do that. I still have a whole week, and technically today is a holiday here in Germany, and then also I still have the weekend. So I think we can do this. So if you want to hear more about the actual books I ended up reading, I will put up my reading wrap-up for May at the beginning of June. There I will talk about the books in detail. The one book that I probably won't get to, not probably, I just abandoned that idea, honestly, is The City of Dragons. It's the 3rd book in the Rainwild Chronicles. And with that, we can move over to the reading plans for June. Okay, so remember how I said that technically we will only have 5 books on the TBR? Well, that is because I will carry over City of Dragons into my June reading plans, because officially on the June TBR I do have Blood of Dragons, which is the 4th and final book in the Rainwild Chronicles. So I hope to finish this series by Robin Hobb in June, and then I can finally give you that reading vlog that I'm sure you have all been waiting for. Now in this series we are already quite far along in the realm of the Elderlings, so I can't really tell you too many details about this without spoiling anything. But we are following a group of teenagers who have taken on the task of ferrying dragons to a forgotten city, and we do have a lot of the relationships that are forming between those teenagers, between the adults that accompany them, and then also the dragons themselves. And at the end of the 2nd book, something very significant happens, so I'm definitely intrigued to see how this story will continue on. Some of my friends have already warned me that the kind of emotional stakes will be much higher in the 3rd and 4th book, and I'm not quite sure if I'm prepared for that, but this wouldn't be the first time I cry because of a Robin Hobb book. So I think those will be probably the only audiobooks I get to in the month. If I do a little bit more, then that's fine, but I don't plan on doing more than those 2 audiobooks. Then from my physical TBR, I really want to read a 5-star prediction that I have. I'm so excited for this book, and it is time now. And that is Asunder by Kirsten Hall. Now, I could not tell you what this book is about. This is a fantasy standalone that was very hyped when it came out, but I had to wait quite a long time because I wanted to have the paperback, and the paperback release was a little bit later. It says on the back, we choose our own gods here, which already makes me very excited because I love any story that has gods in them. And yeah, I'm just intrigued. The cover just spoke to me. First of all, the girl totally stole my haircut, but then you have these creepy hands. It's giving Joan of Arc in a way, but yeah, I want to read this and I don't want to know anything about it when I do. Then I have a book for the authors I want to try this year. So far, I have finished 2 out of the 5 authors I wanted to try for the first time this year. I have read Mama Day by Gloria Naylor, and I just finished Blood Over Bright Haven by M.L. Wang. And the next one I want to do is Bunny by Mona Awad. Now, I know I'm quite late. I put Bunny on my wish list when it first came out and everyone and their mom were talking about it. So it is about time I finally tried this author, and I still want to start with Bunny. Now, it has recently gotten a sequel as well that has not been so well received, but I'm open to reading that too if I like Bunny. We'll see about that. But for now, Bunny is the one that I want to read for, this little project of trying new authors. I am scared, to be honest. All I know about this is that it is a bit of a freaky book. We are following a character who I think goes to college or something, and there she meets a group of girls and they all call each other Bunny. It sounds strange, but strange can be really good for me in a book. And next, I want to finally start one of the other series I want to read this year. I have been really, really slow with the series reading for completely reading series as I like to do. I have been rereading a lot to finish off series that I had previously started, but it is time to get my butt into position to read the series I actually wanted to read this year. And so The Rainbow Chronicles is the first one, and the second one I want to start is, I think it's called The Five Penalties. The first book is The Helm of Midnight. And this is a trilogy. I think it is fantasy horror, which immediately drew me in. And I just really love the cover of this one. It's giving Minotaur, and I'm kind of obsessed. I think it's not that at all for the story. I don't think it's ancient Greek inspired or anything like that, but I definitely wanna get into this series, so I'm planning to read the first book in June. If you have watched my first May reading vlog, you maybe saw my little library haul, and we need to address this situation as well. I have one book from that haul that I want to put fixed on my June TBR, and that one is Tangerine. This is a book that I have checked out from the library multiple times before and then never ended up actually reading it. I don't really know what this one is about. I think it's set in Morocco. Yeah, and we're following a woman who goes to Morocco, and there's something going on with husbands and stuff. I think this is also set in the 50s, and I'm just really, really intrigued by this book. I've had it on the wish list for the longest time, and it is time to finally read this. And I put this book specifically from the library pile because I think this will be a great book to read during my vacation in Mallorca, because it's going to be hot and sunny, and it's going to be exactly the right vibe for this book, I think. I also had this in Mallorca with me last year. Okay, so that would be the last book that is officially on the TBR for June. However, there are more ideas in my head, and we need to talk about them. Now, first of all, I do have 3 more library books that I have currently checked out and obviously would love to read if I had just more time in the day. And the first one of those is The Sunbearer Trials by Aidan Thomas. This is the first book in a duology. I have read Aidan Thomas before. I think it's what's it called? Yeah, I have read both of these actually. I have read Cemetery Boys, and I've also read Lost in the Neverwoods. And later in this year, I definitely want to reread Cemetery Boys to prepare for the sequel. However, this duology has been haunting my dreams, and it's giving summer vibes. I think this is about gods and stuff. There are some trials. I think there is a trans main character maybe. So yeah, I definitely need to get to this. Then we have a book that is so intimidating, and at the same time it intrigues me so much, and that is Hours by Philip B. Williams. Now this is a big book, but it has such an interesting premise. So in this one, we are in Missouri, and I think we're following this town throughout different generations maybe, and it is about this town of runaway slaves or something like that. It just, it speaks to me. I'm so intrigued by this, but also like it's so big. And then last but not least, for my friend Jess, I have sworn up and down I'm gonna read this one. I'm gonna do it. It's A Song of Wraith and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown. This is a YA fantasy book. So the author is from Ghana, but then I think studied and now lives in the US. So I guess this is kind of like the inspiration for this fantasy world, like maybe the mythology of Ghana. I'm not quite sure about that. But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the cover, to be honest. But Jess really loves this duology. And I think I will do so too, so I need to read it. And then I have already mentioned my vacation plans, so I do have a little thing that I want to do as well for that. So before I start my vacation, at the beginning of June, I thought it would be fun to just go on Libby and just check which of the books on my wish list that are kind of like summer vacation-y are currently available. And then basically just check out a bunch and read them. Will that happen? I don't know. But it's an idea and it might happen. Okay, so while I technically have 5 books on the TBR, you can see my mind wants to read 20 books, and that's not gonna happen. But it doesn't matter. It's all about fun, so I will prioritize the 5 books that are actually on my TBR, plus the 1 book from May that I didn't manage to finish. And then we'll just go wild and we'll just see where it takes us. I want June to be like a super fun mood reading time, and I think that will work out. I'm excited about all of these books. If you have read any of them, let me know down below. Did you like them? Should I prioritize them? And yeah, with that, I'm done. And I hope you have a wonderful June. Happy reading. Let me know what's on top of your TBR, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.